Tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Tresian's death.
Oh no.
Like in the case of Jalen Fleer, a San Diego County Sheriff's deputy, whose life will completely change after this interview.
Have you ever shared any images of your penis with anyone?
Yeah.
Today, Fleer is being investigated based on an anonymous tip from Crime Stoppers.
So you understand that you're not under arrest and you are not being detained. You understand that you're free to leave at any time. There will not be any locked doors keeping you from leaving. As you notice, that one doesn't have a lock behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. It started with a Crime Stopper report, so we're just kind of going from there. You know, we're investigating allegations that were made that you were communicating with a younger female on Snapchat and potentially some material might have been shared.
Okay.
Some photos, some images, stuff like that.
As per reports, Fleer used to message minor girls on Snapchat attempting to meet them. He then offered them money as an incentive to meet. One of the girls was just 12 years old. Fleer also offered more money to the girls if they managed to invite their underage friends. In court, the prosecutor read the explicit messages that Fleer sent to the minors.
The detail he goes into with regard to his sex exploits that he is trying to engage in with young children are just despicable. He tells multiple 12-year-old girls, do you have any younger friends who are interested in older men? I'll give you money to hook me up with them. The younger they are, the better.
He had asked her about soliciting younger friends, and she mentioned a 9-year-old friend. The defendant got excited about that prospect and tried to convince her to talk her 9-year-old friend into having a threesome with him.
The prosecutor also said the girls were afraid to report Fleer to the police because he was the police. Fleer's defense asked for a lenient sentencing.
Mr. Fleer and his wife were expecting the birth of their first child. The child was going to come any day. And Mr. Fleer, without hesitation, said, I'm ready to surrender.
The judge was having none of it.
I have never seen a more despicable set of facts as I've seen in this case.
Fleer was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Jalen Fleer will spend a better part of his life in prison for targeting minor girls. But what happens when an officer abuses his power? Like what happened when Officer Michael Amott pulled over a car for a traffic violation in Euclid, Ohio. Sitting in the car was Richard Hubbard, I and his girlfriend, but the traffic stop was anything but routine. Initially, Richard complied with Officer Amott, but when Amott tried to handcuff him, Richard resisted. Heard that pop? That was Richard getting tased. The struggle ensued, and the officers became more and more aggressive. On her knees, Richard's girlfriend begged them to stop. But the scuffle continued, and Amott kept throwing punches. A passerby took this video on her cell phone, showing Richard with his head under one officer's knee while Amott delivered one final blow. In court, Amott said that he acted according to the law.
Initially, when we go down to the ground, well, he was wrestling with us, and he does throw a punch at me. That was just shown, but if he's wrestling with us, we use strikes.
Flurries of punches that you threw, did he swing back at you one time?
While I was throwing the punches, no.
The prosecution said that Amott violated Richard's civil rights with excessive police force.
Assault has been proven, beyond any doubt, basically. Michael Amiot says that he was justified in using force because he's a police officer. That is the start of a violation of his civil rights.
The defense argued that Amott acted according to his training and protocol.
With police policy that governs Officer Amiot and all officers of the Euclid Police Department.
But the judge was having none of it.
And I did listen to your trainers, your prior instructors. I did listen to them, but I do believe in this case, I believe the jury got it right.
The jury found Amott guilty.
We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, do hereby find the defendant Michael Amiot guilty of assault.
The judge agreed with the jury's verdict.
Police need to be able to control folk, no doubt about that. There must be control, but there's a limit to how that's done.
Amount was sentenced to 30 days in jail, 60 days of house arrest, and 3 years of probation. He was also fired from the Euclid Police Department.
The court at this time will impose a sentence of 90 days.
I appreciate the jury and the court for making the right decision. You know, with Amy, I did something wrong. Still going through like the suffering with the anxiety.
While Michael Amount lost his job and reputation for showing excessive police power, what happens when you're caught luring a minor with intentions to exploit them? This is a sting operation by YouTuber Musa Harris, also known as the Luzerne Leonard Galley County predator catcher. Musa, at the time, had no idea that he was about to catch ex-police officer Leonard Galley.
Hey, Paul. What you here for? How you doing? What's your name? Paul. Paul? Yeah. What you right here for? Sir? What you right here for, Paul? Me? Yeah. I'm here to meet some of my friends.
Musa posed as a 15-year-old boy on a dating app to lure out Glil, who went by the alias Paul.
You got the wrong guy.
Buddy, Paul?
No. My name's not Paul.
You just said Paul.
No.
You just said your name Paul.
My name's not Paul. You got the wrong guy, buddy.
Galley quickly changed his story and also made racial remarks towards Musa.
Get in with me. Stop playing no game.
Got one again right here.
Galley panicked and left in a hurry. He was well known in his community for being involved in suspicious and inappropriate activities.
You do hear the rumors, and he's always running around doing some perverted stuff. I would like to see him get punished to the full extent. It's disgusting.
Galley pleaded guilty to felony charges of solicitation and unlawful contact with a minor. His lawyer argued that he was suffering from depression and never intended to harm anyone. Galley was sentenced to 1 to 2 years in prison, followed by 5 years of probation. He was also registered as a Tier 3 sex offender and was prohibited from teaching, coaching, or attending places where minors frequent. While Leonard Galley will spend a year in prison for his actions, how does this compare to murdering your neighbor, like in the case of Dallas police officer Amber Geiger, who one night made a shocking 911 call?
Get up, man. Dallas 911, this is Carla. Where's your emergency?
Hi, this is an off-duty officer. I need EMS. I'm in number...
What's going on?
I'm an off-duty officer. I thought it was at my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking it was my apartment.
He saw someone?
Yes, I thought it was my apartment. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Okay, and where are you at right now?
I'm inside the apartment with him.
As per reports, Geiger entered the apartment of her neighbor, Botham Jean, and shot him twice. She claimed she mistook Jean's apartment for her own and thought he was an intruder. Authorities soon arrived at the scene, and time was running out for Jean as officers desperately tried to revive him with CPR. Jean died at the hospital soon after. Geiger was interrogated, where she maintained the same emotions as in the 911 call.
Felt like that guy was gonna kill me. Oh, she was the last.
She's leveling off her gun, having acquired her target, and she shoots at him twice. No opportunity for de-escalation, no opportunity for him to surrender. Bang, bang, rapid, double tap.
The prosecution argued that Geiger acted unreasonably and recklessly.
Hits Bo in the chest just above his left nipple. The path of that bullet goes down into his heart, does absolutely devastating damage. Goes through his lung, goes through his stomach, goes through his intestine, until it finally comes to a rest in what's called the psoas muscle, which is halfway between his stomach and his back. This path is very revealing because it is consistent with the fact that Bo was getting up from his seated position and facing the door as Amber Geiger was coming into his home.
The defense argued that Geiger made an honest mistake and acted in self-defense.
Amber Geiger firmly and reasonably believed that she was in her own apartment, that she had confronted an intruder, that she had no choice, that she had no options but to use her gun to keep from dying.
Residents of the same building recalled what exactly happened that night.
Just go in and think I actually was about to cook me something to eat.
Okay, what happened then?
And then I heard gunshots.
Okay, how many gunshots do you remember?
2.
Anything that you saw that made you think, that's different?
Just, like I said, I just noticed it was an officer walking in. I saw she had a bag, and I just kind of saw it and went to my apartment.
She broke down and apologized for her actions.
And I'm saying, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
What were you focused on?
Him.
Just him?
Yes.
And then he began coming towards you?
Yes.
And as he became coming for you, that's when you heard him speak?
Yes.
Good. I'm going to do that now, all right?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Hey!
That's at that point whenever I shot
Somewhere in this area.
Yes.
When you shot, what happened?
He fell in.
However, what Geiger said next shocked the whole courtroom.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Shooting him in center mass, exactly where you are trained. You intended to kill Mr. John.
I did.
She literally confessed to killing Botham Jean. Geiger was sentenced to 10 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 5 years.
The jury find unanimously that the defendant did not cause the death of Botham John while under the immediate influence of sudden passion, and assess the defendant's punishment at 10 years imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
This case had an unexpected moment of grace and forgiveness when Jean's younger brother, Brant, took the stand.
Again, I'm speaking for myself, not even bad for my family. But I love you just like anyone else. I'm not gonna say I hope you rot and die. I personally want the best for you. And I wasn't gonna ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but I don't even want you to go to jail.
But what he did next was seen as a powerful gesture of compassion and healing.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
Another moment of kindness came from the presiding judge, Tammy Kemp, who hugged Geiger and gave her the Bible, telling her to read it and find God. Amber Geiger was sentenced to 10 years in prison for accidentally killing her neighbor. But what happens when a crooked cop gets caught, like in the case of Zachary Wester, who was charged with racketeering and false imprisonment in Florida?
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
As per reports, the 28-year-old former sheriff's deputy, Zachary Wester, was accused of planting drugs on unsuspecting motorists during traffic stops.
Seriously. Hey, man. Go ahead and put your hands. Don't. At this point, you are detained, okay?
I don't do anything.
Okay.
I don't mess with that stuff.
If the drivers denied knowledge of the drugs, they were arrested anyway.
The syringe is actually in like a plastic, larger baggie with a plastic container with a substance in it that appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Some of Wester's victims had other prior offenses, which made the alleged possession charges even more serious.
Look, man, you seem like you're pretty squared away, okay?
Yeah.
All right. But I do have an issue with something within the vehicle.
What's that?
Pulled you over. Your driver's license is not valid. Okay. Pulled you out to talk to you about it.
And for the poor souls who resisted and protested their innocence, Wester used his taser on them.
Invasive. I'm gonna send y'all hell away here in just a minute. He didn't have anything. That was a slick move, man. Very slick.
Hey, man.
Go ahead and put your hands up. Do not do this.
That's right.
That ain't mine, man. What you trying to
After a while, the arrest caused suspicion internally.
Began what's called an internal affairs investigation into the defendant's use of his body cameras.
Wester was suspended from the sheriff's department.
First, he made the recommendation that the defendant be suspended pending the outcome of the investigation.
The case went to trial, where Wester pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power. The defendant used his position as a deputy sheriff to make traffic stops on 12 members of this community and plant methamphetamine in their cars, methamphetamine and paraphernalia. He turned what should be a law enforcement agency, and is, into something for his own use that was criminal.
Some of Wester's body cam footage was found mysteriously deleted or unusable.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
However, the prosecutor found something suspicious in one of Wester's body cam footage.
Why in the world does the defendant have palmed in his hand, just clasped like this, not like this, not like this, like this, a plastic baggie? Why in the world does he have that there? I would submit that this is objective evidence where you see him planting drugs in the moment. You see something in his hand that has no reason, no logical reason, given this stop and what we know about it, for it to be there. This is him planting evidence, and you see it.
Wester's victims testified in court.
I knew the truck was clean. I knew it was.
The white, small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video Had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
The only thing I really saw was the fact that he did keep going into the car like several times, over and over and over again. Because he'd come back, he'd talk to me, he'd go back to the car, he'd come back to me, he'd go back to the car.
Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Guilty of official misconduct related to Teresa Odom as charged.
Wester was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
Procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy, guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy.
I wish he was the one with the gun that killed me. No police officer ever would want to hurt an innocent person.
Daniel Holtzclaw, a former officer of the Oklahoma City Police Department, was convicted of multiple charges related to sexual misconduct, including sexual assault, sexual battery, and other offenses.
She got inside the car.
She got inside.
Did you go get in the car and talk, or did you stand there with the door open and talk to her?
I think I did get inside the car for like a quick minute and just see what the deal is, just talking to her.
Did your pants come unzipped, unbuttoned, anything while you were standing right there? I don't know what to say, I mean, because it just looks like I just caught you in a lie, and now I don't know what to believe.
Nothing was done as far as that.
As per reports, Daniel targeted African American women with criminal histories and drug-related issues, believing they wouldn't report him due to fear. He was brought in for questioning at the same location where he worked as a police officer.
You made her lift up her shirt, and when she lifted up her shirt, she exposed her breast. What about pants?
Nothing in her pants as far as that concerned. She was wearing tight jeans.
She said she pulled them down. Do you recall putting your in her mouth?
I don't. Sir, I'm sticking with my story.
Okay. On the video, are we gonna see her?
Shouldn't see her. I didn't see her.
Okay. Are we gonna see her pull her pants down?
I didn't see her pull her pants down.
Are we gonna see your out?
No.
Are we gonna see your go in her mouth?
No.
His DNA sample was taken to match the evidence found in his car.
CSI is processing your car right now. And when we stepped out, they found some pubic hairs.
Daniel's conviction was largely based on DNA evidence with some inconsistencies in the testimony of victims, some of which later proved to be false.
But you lied on everything you said today. Yes or no? So he never touched you? Is it yes or no?
No.
So you just made up the entire story?
Chenice Barksdale, who filed a sexual assault report against Daniel, gave an incredible reason for her actions.
I just felt bad for her, and I just wanted to know, like, she wasn't the only victim or anything.
And you thought it would do what?
Make it feel like she's not the only one.
Terry Morris, another alleged victim, even refused to testify initially.
You know I gotta encourage you to go through and talk to me.
But if somebody else can do it, I don't want to. I just want to leave it alone.
She clearly didn't want to be there.
Okay, is there anything that I can do to persuade you to help make you stronger?
No.
One victim, on the other hand, gave a completely incorrect description of Daniel.
Tell me your description of him.
He's black.
He's black male.
One accuser was even caught on camera admitting that she wasn't sexually assaulted at all.
So this is good evidence?
Well, you tell me.
I think so, because I mean, y'all, even if he didn't even rape nobody or nothing, he's still in contact with people that he arrested.
Still, it was reported that some of the accusers were lying with the intention of profiting from lawsuits.
They lied on the stand, they lied to the jury, they're involved in civil lawsuits where they may collect millions. This is an injustice, and the public doesn't want to be bothered with it.
There was even an alleged secret trial held, reportedly without Daniel or his defense team's knowledge.
Surveillance cameras capture a team of prosecutors, including the lead in Holtzclaw's trial, arriving ahead of the proceedings.
There were 2 full days where the secret hearing was going on, and my lawyer wasn't allowed to be there. Let them know about it. Also, the lead prosecutor in my trial, who lied, gets to weigh in on a response or has his input. How is this in any way, shape, or form fair to me?
Daniel alleged that his DNA was planted rather than coming from direct contact.
I thought that, they were setting me up. I thought something was tampering of evidence, and I was like, are you serious? I didn't do anything sexual in nature with any of these women, so where is this evidence coming from?
Daniel was eventually found guilty of the majority of his charges, marking the point when he hit rock bottom.
Procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy, guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, guilty of the crime of forcible oral sodomy.
A visibly distraught Daniel sobbed inconsolably as the judge read out the rest of his verdict. Daniel was sentenced to 263 years in prison.
Mr. Holtzclaw, this jury finds you guilty of the various counts.
He maintains his innocence to this day, while Daniel Holtzclaw will spend the rest of his life in jail. How does this compare to using police power to assault minors?